As the Nevada caucus results were pouring in, if you're a Bernie Sanders fan, it was a pretty good night for you, but not so for everyone. And perhaps the leader of that camp would be Chris Matthews, who started talking like this.
I was reading last night, Brian, I know you're a history guy too. I'm reading last night about the fall of France in the summer of 1940. And the general, Renault, calls up Churchill and says, it's over. And Churchill said, how can it be? You got the greatest army in Europe. How can it be over? He said, it's over. So I had that suppressed feeling. I can't be as wild as Carville, but he is damn smart. And I think he's damn right on this one.
Damn smart, I don't know. So just to be clear, if you're not a history guy like Carville and Chris Matthews, he is likening the win of Bernie Sanders in Nevada to the Nazis invading France.
Seems like a poor move to say about the first, the most prominent Jewish candidate in our nation's history, who has lost family in the Holocaust. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I'm gonna say I'm not as crazed about this as I saw some people online, just because, like, if you look at his delivery of it, the way he's smiling, like this wasn't like I'm gonna be dragged to Central Park and murdered Chris Matthews. This was like, hey, I'm crazy Chris Matthews. So I don't think he got what he was doing as much. I'm not saying he shouldn't be mad about it, but this to me isn't as bad as like Chuck Todd literally calling the supporters of Bernie Sanders digital brown shirts. It seemed like he was being folksy in a really, really bad way.
Well, you have to look at it as a part of the totality of what he's saying. So I think it is pretty insidious to say that just because a candidate who's espousing issues that talk about healthcare and universal rights and bringing poor people some dignity, all of those things, and saying that it's like an invasion or it's like the fall of a civilization in many ways, or likening it to one of the worst events and scariest moments for Europe and the world in the history of the entire planet. That's really, that shows how disconnected he is from everybody else, and also shows how genuinely threatening a Bernie Sanders presidency is to the wealthy and to the media establishment. So, I've been pointing out that Bernie's coalition is not dissimilar from what Obama did in 08, because he would be able to turn out the Midwest, and Obama ran on kind of economically populist ideas as well. And so that's why you saw in 08, those Midwestern Obama voters, and then they flipped to Trump in 2016. I think Bernie could take those very people back.
I feel the same way.
But even Obama, who marginally, in just rhetoric, threatened the media establishment, they were not as bullish on. I mean, they liked Hillary Clinton better at the time in 08. I get it, but that they knew, okay, he's talking like this on the campaign trail. It's not going to actually be anything that's threatening, and that was the reality when he was in office.
He was basically like the Nazis taking Poland.
Right, exactly.
It's not quite. See, this is how ridiculous it is.
But they're actually, they know that Bernie is not playing around, and he wouldn't be playing around as a person in power. So that's why you get these unhinged responses, and what he's saying here is just ludicrous.
Yeah, imagine if I was like, these first 3 wins, that was the landing at Normandy. It was the beginning of taking back that which has been, that would be a ridiculous thing to say. But at least there, it's good. You're likening to be one of the worst historic villains. Anyway,
why didn't he just call Bernie Satan at this point?
Yeah,
I mean, that was. I don't
know how religious he is.
That could have been some anti-Semitic stuff there too, but anyway, go on.
Okay, well, we have a little bit more of Chris Matthews with less history, which is good. So let's go to that.
And it looks like Bernie Sanders is hard to beat right now. I'm with Carville all the way in terms of the dangers of what lies ahead in November. I'm very much aware of them. They're sitting on so much oppo research on Bernie, what he said in the past about world affairs, how far left he is. I'm not sure how far left he is, but they're going to make the most of that in terms of world politics. They're going to kill him. But I think it's a little late to stop him, and I think that's the problem. By the way, if you look at the pattern, it's dynamic. Bernie won the popular vote in Iowa. He won it again in New Hampshire. It looks like he's going to win it here when they finally get a vote. Bernie's been winning consistently, and I think it's mathematically understandable.
What?
So look, at least he's being honest. He's coming out and saying it looks like they can't stop Bernie, and that's the problem. So he's being very clear.
You know what, John? He was going to give you healthcare, send your kids to college for free. He's going to do all these things, but you're probably not going to vote for him because he said something positive about Castro in 1972.
Wait, what?
Yep, it's over. It's over. It's over. Done.
Well,
oh, and saying
I
you're
was
with
probably going to endorse Klobuchar anyway.
right. Saying you're with James Carville. Bad idea.
At this point,
he's a raving lunatic that goes on TV wearing a hat. You just don't do that. Take off the hat.
I know it's not the same thing, but like in his recent appearances, he gives me like James Woods vibes.
Wow.
It's like you're bringing him on because like he was big back in the day, but he's just there to say crazy stuff.
I'm gonna say this this is kind of petty, but he's married to a Republican strategist, and like, I don't know. If you're really like, you have values that are aligned with the progressive movement, it would be really hard for me to marry a Republican. I don't know about you, but I mean, he's proud that he does.
Tried dating and it's not great.
Right.
It's not a great idea.
Yep. Yeah.
Not if you're opinionated and unreasonable, as I am. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.